Let me take you somewhere. Imagine two pilots sitting in identical planes at LAX, preparing for takeoff to New York City. Same aircraft. Same fuel. Same weather conditions. But one pilot adjusts his heading by just 1 degree. Just one. A change so minor you couldn't see it with your naked eye. For the first few miles, both planes look like they're on the exact same path. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart. But by the time they reach the East Coast, that 1 degree difference has put them 150 miles apart. One lands in New York. The other ends up in Philadelphia or Boston. The same effort. The same intention. But a completely different destination. That's your life. Right now, in this very moment, you're the pilot. And the 1 degree shifts you make today, tomorrow, next week, they are determining whether you land where you intended or somewhere else entirely. We've been conditioned to believe that success belongs to the gifted, the lucky, the ones who were born with something we don't have. But the truth is far more beautiful and far more accessible than that. Success belongs to the consistent. To those who understand that getting 1% better every single day isn't just a nice idea, it's a mathematical certainty that will transform everything. Think about it. If you improve by just 1% each day for a year, you're not just 1% better. You're 37 times better. That's not motivation speaking, that's mathematics. That's the compound effect. That's what happens when small changes accumulate over time, building on each other, multiplying in ways you can't see in the moment, but become undeniable in hindsight. But here's where most people lose the plot. They can't see it happening, so they assume it's not working. They quit at the exact moment when the magic is just beginning to take shape beneath the surface. You want to be a writer. You don't need to write a novel today. You need to write 1 paragraph. 1 mediocre, imperfect paragraph that you'll probably rewrite 10 times. But it's 1%. You want to get in shape. You don't need to run a marathon tomorrow. You need to do 10 push-ups. Maybe they're shaky. Maybe your form is terrible. But it's 1%. You want to build a business. You don't need a perfect product launch. You need to make 1 call, send 1 email, learn 1 new skill. That's your 1%. And here's the secret they don't tell you. That 1% isn't about the outcome. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who shows up. Because every tiny action is a vote for the person you're becoming. But let's go deeper, because this is where it gets real. The 1% rule isn't just about addition. It's also about subtraction. It works in reverse, and that's the part that should terrify you into action. If you get 1% worse each day, if you let the small compromises slide, if you choose comfort over commitment, just a little bit each day, by the end of the year you're not at 0. You're almost at 0. You decline to nearly nothing. That's what happens when we tell ourselves, just this once, or it's not a big deal, or I'll start tomorrow. Those tiny erosions don't feel like anything in the moment, but they compound too. Every time you hit snooze instead of getting up. Every time you scroll instead of creating. Every time you numb instead of facing what's real. Those aren't neutral choices. They're 1% in the wrong direction. And a year of wrong directions doesn't keep you where you are. It moves you backward while everyone else is moving forward. That's the invisible regression. That's why so many people wake up at 35, 45, 55 and wonder how they got here. It wasn't one catastrophic failure. It was 1,000 tiny compromises that seemed insignificant at the time. So here's the moment where everything shifts. Here's where you have to be honest with yourself. You've been waiting for permission. You've been waiting for certainty. You've been waiting to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel like you have what it takes. But what if those feelings only come after you start? What if courage isn't what you need to begin, but what you build by beginning? I want you to think about the person you were a year ago. Maybe you're proud of that person. Maybe you're disappointed. But either way, that person made choices, tiny ones, and those choices brought you here. Now imagine the person you could be a year from today. Not perfect. Not flawless. But 1% better every single day for 365 days. Can you even fathom who that person is? The confidence they carry. The proof they have of their own capability. That person exists. They are real. They are possible. The only question is whether you'll make the tiny decisions required to meet them. This is the turning point. This is where you stop being the passenger in your own life and become the pilot. This is where you stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start creating them, one microscopic improvement at a time. Because the truth is, you don't need to be great to start. But you need to start to be great. And starting doesn't require a grand gesture. It requires 1%. Just one. So what's your 1% today? What's the smallest possible action that moves you toward who you want to become? Maybe it's 5 minutes of reading. Maybe it's 1 glass of water. Maybe it's finally having that conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's just deciding, genuinely deciding, that you're done settling for the life you've been living and ready to build the life you're capable of living. Whatever it is, do it. Not perfectly. Not impressively. Just do it. Because here's what I know about you, even if we've never met, you're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you've given yourself credit for. And every single day you've survived, every challenge you've faced, every time you've gotten back up, those weren't accidents. That was you. That was your resilience. That was your power. You've always had what it takes. You've just been looking for it in the wrong place. You thought you needed more, but the truth is, you need less. Less perfection. Less pressure. Less waiting. Just more consistency with the small things. The compound effect doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care how many times you've failed, or how far behind you feel. It only cares about what you do today. And tomorrow. And the day after that. Small changes, repeated over time, create big results. That's not a theory. That's a law. That's how mountains are climbed, how books are written, how lives are transformed. One step. One page. One choice. 1%. So here's my final question for you, and it's the only one that matters. What's stopping you from starting right now? Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not when you feel ready. Right now. Because the person you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of your consistency. They are not perfect. They are not fearless. But they showed up. They did the work. They chose 1% over and over and over again, until it wasn't a choice anymore. It was just who they were. You are one decision away from a completely different life. Not a different circumstance. A different you. And that you, the one who commits to the marginal gains, the tiny improvements, the small daily disciplines, that version of you is unstoppable. So stop waiting for the big moment. This is it. This is the moment. Your 1% starts now.